it's Lakeisha with What's Next, here again in my husband Johnny's kitchen. Tonight I'm going to do a very easy side dish that you can pair with any entree. It's really good for this time of year because it's something that's simple and quick, but yet you get a really good flavor. You can pair it with any of that barbecue that you have, or you can always just make it with the traditional entrees that you choose for your home. So we'll go ahead and get started. First thing you want to do is take either 5 large potatoes or 7 of the smaller potatoes. And I chose the smaller potatoes and I peeled them and I sliced them in small circles. So if you do that, once you're finished, you're gonna, of course, wash them and place them into a glass dish. 9 by 13 works really well. And of course you can size up or down for your family. But again, 5 large potatoes or 7 small ones, that's for my family, which is a family of 5. I'll get you started with that, and once we're done cutting, you come back and we'll make the sauce to go on top of those potatoes. So the first thing we want to do is get our saucepan together, and of course you can use any saucepan that you prefer. We're going to start on low, so we'll go ahead and start that burner and get our pan heating up. And while doing that, we're going to take 2 tablespoons of butter or margarine, whichever you prefer. We'll get that on here. So we want 2 full tablespoons of that. And I'm having troubles getting it off my spoon. There we go. All right, so we're just going to let that kind of stir around in the pot until we're able to get it all melted there. So once that butter starts to melt in our pan, we're going to go ahead and take some flour, and you want to have about 1/4 cup just to have it handy here. And little by little, again, you want it on low, you're going to be stirring in that flour with a whisk into your butter. So just want to keep that moving a little bit more. And so we want to have just enough flour so that it sucks up all of that butter. As soon as you have that even consistency between the flour and the butter, then you should be good to move on to the next step, keeping it on low, of course. And that's going to be the milk. So you want to take about 1 3/4 cups of milk, and you're going to pour it in just little by little. So we're going to pour a little bit in, and then we're going to whisk that with our mixture that we already have here of the flour and the butter. Okay, so we just keep little by little adding the milk till all our milk is in here. I did switch my whisk. If you take a look, I noticed the other one, the traditional whisk, is the mixture is getting caught up a little more than I'd like. So you use, of course, whatever works best for you. But we still have this on low now. And we're going to keep on just whisking this together, trying to create our sauce. All right, so once you have used all of your milk, flour, and butter, then you're going to go ahead and season your mixture. So you can just simply use salt and pepper. I prefer seasoned salt, just because you kind of get both the salt and the pepper in there. And I'm just going to mix that in. But if you use salt and pepper, I would recommend like 1 teaspoon of each, approximately, just depending on how much flavor you want to add. But you can see the consistency here. This is what we want. We want like a cream, a thick cream texture. So we're going to take our potatoes and our mixture, and we're just going to pour it over top here. Just try to get as even as you can out of your pan so that you cover all of your potatoes. Let me just scrape this that's in the pan here. Now, if for any reason you didn't season, or you feel like you didn't season enough, You could in fact add more seasoning now, but if you seasoned at the time that I mentioned to you, then there should be no need to season again now. So let me just spread some of this cream so we make sure we get all of our potatoes touched with it. There we go. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna wrap it in foil and put it in our oven at 350 degrees for about 40 minutes. And I will probably check it about part of the way through. Typically around 30 minutes I'll check it and see if it's cooking the way that I'm looking for it to cook. Okay, so after about 45 minutes of cooking, I've taken it out of the oven. Now I will tell you one thing, I misspoke with the temperature of the oven. You want to have it in there on at least 400. I originally said 350, but depending on how thick your potatoes are, you may need to have that on a higher temperature. So I actually put mine up to 400 and I've had it in there for 45 minutes now. So what we're gonna do is take shredded cheese, and it's any cheese of your choice, and we're gonna just sprinkle that over the top here. I have taken the foil off just to make sure that your potatoes are cooking like they need to. You can take a fork and just test them just to make sure. You'll notice that the ones in the center are the ones that you want to test the most, because those are the ones that will probably be the least likely to excuse me, to have completed cooking. So I'm just going to cover it with some shredded cheddar cheese here. And you can add whatever type of cheese. It doesn't have to be cheddar. I just prefer the cheddar. And just lightly cover it. It's not going to be necessary to coat that really thick with that cheese. And then the last touch is either some parsley or oregano. If you want to throw some of that on top, I can even see you maybe doing some scallion, chopped scallion, but I've chopped up some parsley here. So I'm just going to add that on top. Yeah, you could do chives. This is potatoes, so whatever you think would work good. And we're going to pop it back in the oven. I'm going to do probably another 15 to 20 minutes. I'll just keep testing it, but without the foil this time. And then once it's done, we will have our final taste. All right, so we made it to the end. Started out with 7 small potatoes. I had peeled them, washed them, and sliced them into little round circle pieces. Added those to my dish, left that sitting for a minute, went to the stove, started out with 2 tablespoons of butter and 1 3/4 cups of milk, and I had about a cup of flour. So we slowly mixed that all together with our whisk, and sure enough, after we baked it in the oven for about 45 minutes, pulled it out. Look at this deliciousness. Now at that 45 minutes, I did take I had foil on, I took the foil off, and I added on some cheddar cheese and some parsley. So that's what you see here. And it smells magnificent. Total altogether prep, you're only looking at probably 15 minutes at the most. The longest time, of course, is going to be the cooking. So about 45 minutes for the first step. Once you add everything additional, it takes you to about an hour or so, depending on your oven. But regardless, the final result is magnificent. 1 hour is all it took for us to get this. So let's dish them out and see how it tastes. So this kind of reminds me of like a scalloped potato. It's got nice and crusty in the oven. But you can see it here when I dish it out. It's nice and moist. So that mixture that you have with the butter, the milk, and the flour is going to give you a creamy base. And that's what you're seeing here to make these potatoes look so creamy. And you could always add some sour cream on top now that you're eating it. That would be kind of like a baked potato, I guess you could say. But let me go ahead and take a bite. Oh my goodness. So hot, but it smells delicious. And then I added that shredded cheddar cheese on top too. Mmm. Very, very good. So you could definitely pair this, well, you can eat it by itself, or you can pair it with any type of an entree, any meat that you'd like, barbecue. You could even have it with some steaks. Lots and lots of options. So again, only about 15 minutes, 10-15 minutes to put it together, and a total of about an hour to cook it. So once again, it's another quick and easy success here in Johnny's Kitchen. I'm Lakeisha, and I'll see you next time.